Dean Huijsen is officially joining Real Madrid, 60 million euros to become the most expensive defender in the club's history and the priciest Spaniard they've ever signed. Not bad at all for a 20-year-old who just a year ago was riding the bench for Bournemouth. Dutch by birth, Spanish by passport, and calm as hell on the ball, they call him the chill guy. But what really makes him so special? And how did a lanky center back go from low-key talent to Real Madrid's big bet at the future of their back line? Dean Huijsen was born in Amsterdam, but he's been Spanish for as long as he can remember. His family moved to Marbella when he was only 5, and that's where his footballing foundation was built. By the time he was 10, Malaga had already brought him to their youth system, where he spent the next 6 years growing into a tall, composed center back who could read the game with maturity and who rarely looked rushed, even under pressure. By 16, he was already being tracked by half of Europe, and when Juventus made their offer in 2021, he took the deal, left the beach for Turin, and settled into life at one of Europe's most prestigious clubs. He stood out for the under-19s, then the under-23s. He even made a handful of first-team appearances, including a league debut at San Siro against Milan. But consistent minutes were hard to come by, so in January 2024, Juventus sent him on loan to Roma, where none other than Jose Mourinho would give him a proper run. 14 matches, 2 goals, and an invaluable chance to gain first-team experience in Serie A. It wasn't flawless, but it was more than enough to show he could hold his own at the top level. When he returned to Turin that summer, there was cautious optimism. With the arrival of Thiago Motta as manager and a squad in transition, there was a window for him to fight for a spot. But the club faced financial constraints. They needed to raise cash fast, and Huijsen was one of the few players they could sell without a complicated negotiation. So when Bournemouth approached them with a clean 15 million euro offer, Juventus accepted. And just like that, the young defender would have no choice but to try to adapt to the fast pace of the Premier League. On paper, the move made a lot of sense. A young Spanish defender joining a side coached by Andoni Iraola, one of the most tactically progressive Spanish managers in Europe. Huijsen wasn't arriving as a star, but the fit still felt right. He had just come off a promising loan at Roma. Juventus had sold him, but not for a lack of talent. And now at Bournemouth, there was finally a chance to grow into a defined first-team role, the kind of environment where a young player like him could settle in and quietly level up. But things didn't click right away. With Lloyd Kelly and Marco Senesi, Bournemouth already had an established pairing at the back. Both defenders were more mature, more experienced, and more familiar with the league. And with mixed results to start the campaign, Iraola wasn't looking to experiment. For the first 3 months of the season, Huijsen barely played, making just 2 starts in their first 13 league games, with his role limited to cameos off the bench. It seemed like a frustrating step back from where he had been the previous season with Roma, where he enjoyed consistent minutes and first-team action. But as we like to say here, things change fast in football, and by late November, Huijsen's opportunity would finally arrive. On matchday 13 against Wolves, Marco Senesi would go down with a hamstring injury late into the second half. Huijsen came on cold, but quietly handled the rest of the match. Nothing flashy, just composure, control, and a clean way to finish the game. A week later, he started against Spurs, scored his first goal for the club, and celebrated like the chill guy that he is. The Cherries would go on to keep a clean sheet and take home 3 important points. But not nearly as important as what would follow, because with Huijsen now trusted in the starting 11, Bournemouth's defense, which had conceded 19 goals in their first 13 games, began to lock in. Over the next 10 league matches, they went unbeaten, with clean sheets against United, Everton, and a dominant 5-0 against Forest. Even at Chelsea, they held for a 2-2 draw. But it wasn't just about results, it was about control. Iraola's team still pressed high, but with Huijsen at the back, they looked more composed in build-up, more organized in transition, and far less reckless without the ball. And the numbers backed it up. In the 20 league matches after Huijsen became a starter, Bournemouth conceded just 21 goals, less than half of the rate from the start of the season. Only 2 Premier League sides were more solid in that stretch. And Huijsen, at just 19 years old, was now anchoring one of the best defensive records in the league. His style is front-footed. He doesn't wait for danger to arrive, he steps up to meet it. Whether it's a striker dropping into midfield or a winger tucking inside, Huijsen engages early, times his duels, and makes it uncomfortable to receive the ball. That pressure doesn't always win back possession, but it forces rush touches, awkward passes, and allows the Cherries midfield to jump on second balls, which has actually been a huge part of their defensive improvement. When Huijsen steps out, players like Lewis Cook and Ryan Christie can close in fast. Huijsen is right-footed, but has played most of the season on the left, alongside the young Elias Aberni in a backcourt with no senior safety net. They stay compact when defending deep, cover wide areas when the fullbacks push on, and manage transitions with a composure beyond their years. Huijsen's discipline at the back has allowed Bournemouth to press higher and recover cleaner, and it's a quality that'll matter at Madrid, especially if he's playing behind midfielders like Valverde or Bellingham, who cover ground but often leave space behind them. Statistically, the impact has been clear. Huijsen led the team in defensive duel success rate with almost 75% and was third in interceptions per 90 with 5.26. He wasn't just holding shape, he was reading play, disrupting connections, and controlling the space just ahead of the back line. Even in the air, where young defenders often struggle, he's held up well. He doesn't dominate like a pure enforcer, but his tall stature and ability to get off the ground quickly allows him to challenge almost anything. In possession, he's calm and deliberate. He steps forward with the ball when space opens up, plays clipped passes over pressure, and can switch play with either foot. What's still developing is his ground passing. He sees the options, but the tempo and the shape of his deliveries still need to improve, especially in tight spaces or against compact blocks. That's the kind of refinement that will be important at Madrid, because if he's playing next to someone like Militao or behind a midfield three, he'll need to move the ball quicker, flatter, and with more vertical intent. But that's the thing with Huijsen, he doesn't try to play like someone he's not. He does the simple things well, makes good decisions, and adapts to the demands around him. And at Bournemouth this season, the demands were high. Press, recover, engage early, don't lose control. He did all of it and made the players around him better. At this point, there's no more question about it. Dean Huijsen didn't just adapt to the Premier League. He's established himself as one of the most promising young defenders in the world. Back in March, he made his senior debut for Spain, a clear signal of where his international future lies. He had played for the Netherlands at youth level, but his footballing identity has always been Spanish, and now, so is his national team. The move to Real Madrid represents an even bigger moment for the young defender, joining one of the biggest clubs in the world not just as a prospect, but as a player who's proven he can hold a back line, adapt to a pressing system, and improve a team on both sides of the ball. With Xabi Alonso now taking charge, the timing couldn't be better. Alonso's Leverkusen played with an aggressive, fluid, and demanding back three. If that shape carries over to Madrid, Huijsen fits naturally on the left side of the trio, stepping into midfield when needed, covering space when it opens, and staying composed when the pressure builds. He probably won't be the centerpiece, but he doesn't need to be. Madrid already have stars. What they need now are players who give the system stability, who understand their role, and who can develop with the team. Dean Huijsen has done that before, and there's every reason to believe that he'll do it again. As always guys, thank you for watching. Don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe for more football storytelling just like this.